everybody. Welcome to Big Fish, Little Fish on a really serious Friday. Craig Thompson, tonight I think the best harness racing meeting we've had since the first lockdown, way back in March at Addington.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael. Good morning to you and to the viewers as well. It's a great meeting, isn't it? So much depth. The trotters later in the program, they've got a really good field. The harness millions to the fillies, that's an interesting lineup. And then we've got the big bangers, the open class horse, the New Zealand Cup horses back. And with an addition of Spankum to the field, it adds something to it as well, Michael. A really encouraging night for Addington.
Yeah, it feels like one of those old meetings from 10 or 20 years ago where every race you turn the page and you go, oh, wow, this is a horse I would turn the television on to watch. And then you get to Self-Assured and you get to Sunday Sun and you get to Muscle Mountain versus American Pride. I think it's one of the deepest harness racing meetings we've seen since Cup Day last year. It's not Cup Day, but gee, it feels awfully close. Let's get to the big open class pacing race, Craig. Self-Assured's off the unruly. You think he'll probably still win the way he won 2 starts ago, but I think now, Craig, the rival drivers are going to know how to beat him, which is to try and get a classy brigade to the front, try and roll and try and make him work. And he can't keep relying on luck and coming from back in the field to win. He might need to come sit parked to win one of these races. The question is, do you think he can? And what price are you willing to take to find out?
I wouldn't be taking anything less than $2, Michael, and that's what they've put up early on as we record this message. I mean, I was very much encouraged with what I saw at Rangiora the other day. They put him on the unruly, and he did step off nicely. He actually exceeded my expectations because not only did he step nicely, he stepped quickly. And I think just having that clear air around him on that second row, wouldn't be actually surprised if he steps a lot quicker than what people think tonight, Michael, when he actually settles in the back half of the field and actually not last. So I think he's the horse to beat. I wouldn't take under $2 to find out. I think Classy Brigade at $1.70 is probably a great place bet because it'll be at the top end. So you can play one of two ways. You could either bet Classy Brigade for a place, or you think Self-Assured's the best horse in the race like I do, you could play him to win.
What about Spankum? I think he's very much a forgotten horse, almost won a New Zealand Cup. He did win a Miracle Mile. I can't imagine he's forward enough to win, but you saw the trial at Rangiora last week. How did you compare him with Self-Assured?
Well, I think he's surprisingly pretty well forward on the back of 2 or 3 workouts, but I still think he's not race hard fit there like these horses are. And I think, like you'll benefit greatly from that run. I'd be surprised if he won, Michael. It wouldn't shock me, but I'd be surprised if he won because I think there's a lot of improvement in him, and I don't think they're going to give him a gut buster first up. So I think where Self-Assured can work in the race and win, I'm not sure if Spankum can.
The trotting race is full of depth. The trotter of the year, Winterfell, Winter Dominion champion, is there. Habibi Inter, who won the Dominion by a cricket pitch last year, is there. Majestic Man, who's been incredibly consistent. Just goes to show you how good Sunday Sun is. He's $2.30, Whale, because if he trots all the way, he'll just beat these horses, which almost sounds arrogant about his talents, but I don't think anybody's going to argue with it. He trots, he'll win.
Yeah, I think so, Michael. I mean, we talked about it a fortnight ago. He's a horse that has to be in the zone. Now, when he is in that zone, I don't think there's many trotters in New Zealand or Australasia that can go with him. The trouble is he's not in that zone very often. And we saw that case through Anzac Cup, through Roe Cup, where he was just dominant. He was better than those trotters, not by a small margin, by a large margin, because he had to do things in those races that clearly put him at the top of the pecking board. Now, since then, he's had a couple of off days and they've had to go back to the drawing board. What I liked is what I saw a fortnight ago, and even more so during this week. He was back at the trial, started off 40 metres, trotted away nicely, got into a zone, loomed up on the outside of a very smart trotter and trotted freely up the lane in a very quick last half. I got him 56 again. He did it nicely. Oh, he's in the zone again, Michael. And if he steps away clearly, like he did during the week, I couldn't see him beat.
Yeah, Habibi Inter will be short of a run. Majestic Man, I'm not sure he's as good over the longer trips as he is over the shorter trips. And Winterfell, I think, still a work in progress. Mark Burton assures me. He says, look, we're winning the battle. We can get there left-handed, but I'm not going to back him to find out. So I think Sunday Sun's probably the bet of the night. Okay, 3-year-old fillies, really interesting, but you'll be a huge fan of La Rosa. I don't mind her, but man, I think she's short in this race, considering the depth compared with the maiden race she won last week.
Well, I'll tell you what, the barrier draw doesn't do her any favours. Now, that sounds a funny thing to say when she's drawn barrier number 2. But she hasn't got any gate speed. Wouldn't have mattered if she drew 2 or 6. She gets out okay. So she's going to stay moderately handy, but I'm not expecting from barrier 2 that she'll cross to the front. I think Passion and Power will probably beat her there early, Michael. So that changes the complexion of the race. So if you're betting into this race, you're thinking, look, La Rosa's barrier 2, $2.60, just rolls to the front. I'm not seeing that happen. So that then makes value in the race. Now, clearly I thought Ivana was outstanding winning her last start. I mean, she beat most of these fillies, including a stablemate, clearly, and she opened up $6. I'm reading something different into this race than what the bookmakers are seeing, because I think both of the All-Stars runners are overs, especially Ivana, because she beat Town Echo and is at twice the price. So if you ask me what I'm backing in the race, I'd say Ivana, and I think she's overs.
I'm with you with a slightly different logic. I like Town Echo. I thought she could only improve on the fresh up run. When she kept coming, she wanted to be there, and even when Ivana swept past her, she kept coming again. I really liked what I saw from her. I agree with the price. If she was $6, I'd be a lot happier about it. But then again, that's punting for you. I think Town Echo's got a great chance. I agree. You could probably split bet the All-Stars. Remarkably, they haven't been as dominant in the last month with those good 3-year-old races at Alexandra Park. So they actually don't have huge numbers in tonight. Interesting race. Interesting time for harness racing. So I'll go Town Echo. You can go Ivana. Maybe a split bet for you punters. Other nice race of the night, but there's plenty of them. But the other star race is the Harness Millions for New Zealand Bloodstock Standardbred. $75,000 for the 3-year-old trotters. Leaf Stride has got so much hype about it, and he's so good, Craig. It's really easy to think he'll win this. But, man, I liked what I saw from Son of Patrick last week.
Great race, wasn't it, Michael? Because there was things that happened in that race I didn't see unfolding. One of them was Son of Patrick's performance, because, I mean, I thought he was a handy 3-year-old. He's been around at the trials and at Franklin, and he's raced at Alexandra Park. I thought, yeah, he's all right. But he just jumped out of his skin last week and came from back in the field to put up an amazing performance to run second. I thought Leaf Stride did enough to suggest he deserves to start favourite. Whether he deserves to be $2 and a horse like Eurocash $6, I don't believe that's the true reflection of both of their horses' ability. I actually think Eurocash at $6 is worth a bet in this race, Michael. I think he's got the gate speed to at least lead or hand to a stablemate, puts him in the right spot. I mean, you've got to remember, he's beaten Mexicana, he's beaten Time Up the Hill, he's beaten a lot of nice horses, Eurocash. If you forgive him that last start failure, where he galloped off the gate fresh up because he hadn't raced for, 8 weeks? Geez, he's at a nice price. I think he's a great bet at $6.
I like a horse in this race called Out of My Way. Don't like it to win this race. Can run a place. Clear Orange jumps on instead of Trainer pulled in. I like it as my Derby horse for later in the season.
He's a big, real scopy bloke. At a mile and 1900's just like 1,000 metres too short from him. You can see him like over those longer trips. You're right, 2,700 metres. He's just big and weak at the moment. Not saying he won't compete in this race tonight, but I think those longer trips are really going to benefit him.
Look, we can't talk all day, even though we would love to, because we love this sort of stuff. What else do you like in the support program? Because every race I turned the page and I was like, wow, this will be a bit of fun.
I think one of the races of the night, and it's not because it's an open class race or a free-for-all, but I tell you what, that later trot with Muscle Mountain, American Pride, Maria Zarina, that is an absolute cracking race for horses.
Majestic Leveros.
Yeah, that are going forward to head towards cup class races. I think there's a bet in the race, and I think it's an each-way bet, and that is Majestic Leveros. Yeah. I love the way he trialled with Sunday Sun during the week. I've always thought he'll make the grade. I just think he's taken time. He's got 10 and 20 metres over American Pride and Muscle Mountain this week. I think that may be enough, and I think he won't start favourite, Michael. So I think on an each-way basis, I think Mark Jones has primed him for a $20,000 race fresh up, and I think it's a nice race for him.
Well done to everybody involved, Addington, Harness Racing New Zealand, for getting us back to here, because there were times in winter with the stakes the way they were, we thought, are those days you're going to come back? And they come back tonight. at Addington. Punt responsibly, enjoy yourself, and enjoy all the great racing coming out of Headquarters.